welcome back to Old Reader, New Reader. I know it's been a million years, and I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
I will not.
Steven, welcome. You're still Vamp Boy, because he reminded me before this that the last time he was on, we did DC versus Vampires together. Perfect timing. It's great.
What's funny is, like, I'm not even crazy about vampires.
Well, the show history would say differently, so.
That's true. That's true.
But welcome back. And we will have to read and review DC versus Vampire. DC Vampires? Is it just DC versus Vampires?
I think it's versus. Yeah, I don't know what the new one's called. Hold on.
We'll have to review that one when it's collected, because I'm already stoked to go back. And I would have never, if you had told me that before I read it, I'm like, no, another gimmicky thing.
It's right
DC
there
versus
on
Vampires,
the main page.
World War V.
World War V.
But we're here. Hello, Chris. Hello, Adrian, James. GTQ Comic. How's everybody doing? Happy spooky season. It is not spooky season yet.
No, it is.
But I was talking to Steven. I was like, hey, Steven, can you come on the show? I need friends. And you were like, totally. Here's some books I've read. And I was like, that one. Let's start spooky season early.
Well, and I feel like everything I read is horror. So
I've really been in the mood for spooky books. Like I've been reading a lot of books with no pictures.
Oh, me too. I've been following you on Goodreads. We're reading a lot of the same books with no pictures.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll have to at the end. We'll have to share some, because I'm just cruising through all of Simone St. James right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure there's new Grady Hendrix about this time of year that I need to pick up, but I haven't.
I am smack dab in the middle of We Used to Live Here, and it's a religious experience.
Oh, okay, I'm in. We'll talk about that at the end.
Good. Yeah.
So everybody, save your horror or like thrillery kind of books, prose books recommendations till the end, as well as comics. It will be
as well as
comics,
the process. They're all sitting here.
Well, I want to do Hero County next month actually, because the huge completed edition's coming out. And I don't have that.
Yeah, so this is the second Omni, but it's one of my favorite series.
So good.
You have to do the completed edition, but you've also got to do the Tales.
That's right.
There's only 3 trades of Tales, though.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can make that happen. I have a neighbor who's already their yard already has half of their yard covered in Halloween decorations, so it's spooky season in my area. Still trying to get Mad Poppy War. It's on my list, I promise. I've been on like kind of like prose reading hiatus. Because it's been a video game year, but I'm back now, which means that I'm in a good state mentally. If you see me reviewing a lot of books on Goodreads, that means I'm doing better.
Yeah, no, I saw well, no, again, we're gonna sit and talk prose, because I saw one that I think you rated today and I haven't read it and I'm debating if I want to. So
ooh, is it the one with the VHS cover?
No, it's the Blonde Eyes First.
Ooh, I gave it a 3. I like it.
That's how I feel about some of them. I actually gave
YA.
up on my first book in like years the other day, though, and that was sad.
I'm breezing through Boys in the Valley right now. For Cassie does good horror. Okay. I probably said that wrong. Too late.
Fricassee. Fricka.
The problem is now I'm in this bad habit of whenever it's any foreign word, I do the bad Italian. I do the Italian thing.
It's a fricassee.
Which is not. Anyways, so that's not what we're talking about.
It's not. No, sorry.
So we were talking about Little Monsters by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I know that's me saying an Americanized version of that last name.
I was going to say, how are you saying it?
Nguyen.
I know it's either Nguyen or I've heard some people say Nguyen.
Yeah, I think either is okay, like as much because we don't have the same tones.
Right.
And if it was a Chinese name, I could do that tonally. I don't know Vietnamese tones enough. So
right.
We're going with Nguyen today.
Nguyen works. I just want to make sure I'm not saying it wrong.
Yeah, and it works well enough because that win is a win joke is so funny whenever you see that. You know, like.
I also have a small child off camera.
She's allowed. She's here for the vibes of the.
Yeah, right now we're in a real moral support situation.
So at some point, Steven might have to.
Yeah.
Take care of things.
But I don't want to explain one more time out loud because they're listening.
So we're talking about Little Monsters, not to be confused with the movie Little Monsters, which there is one.
With
I've
Fred
never seen it.
Savage.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I recognize that cover everywhere.
It's bad. I
It
love
looks
it.
bad. So this one, there's some good like different descriptions of it online. But some people describe it as like Lord of the Flies, but with vampires.
Yeah.
This is the same like writer artist duo as Ascender and Descender, which I haven't read actually.
Oh, really?
I don't know how I haven't, but gosh, Dustin Nguyen's art is gorgeous, gorgeous.
So I'm gonna say something off the top, controversial.
Oh no.
I don't usually like Dustin Nguyen's art.
Okay.
Like Ascender and Descender are both very good books, but the art I just never really got into.
Okay.
I think it works perfectly for this book. And I like the black and white, but with like splashes of red.
Yeah.
I actually prefer his art that way. I think it's honestly the more of the color palette that did me in with Ascender.
Okay.
But I guess he probably wasn't the colorist, or he might have been.
Uh,
But I didn't love the very watercolory color palette that he used for that.
okay.
So I was like, oh no, I'm going in here saying like, I don't. And I know like I probably like artists that people hate, so I get it.
I mean, I love Jeff Lemire and his art.
So many people hate Jeff Lemire's
And many
art,
people hate Jeff Lemire's art, but to me, it works for the story. And for this, like often I prefer to read a Jeff Lemire book with his art.
Oh my god, the book that came out, issue 1. Oh, my fiance's coming in the door. There may be some sounds. Issue 1 came out last week, but Minor Arcana, which is Jeff Lemire's new written and drawn
I saw
book,
some of that.
is incredible. Issue 1, 5 stars. Mwah. Like, I'm in. It's going to be sad. I can already feel it coming.
As it should be.
It's going to make me cry, same as May's book did. Which I was going to say, did you read May? Yeah. It's there's some family vibes there that I'm like, it's going to happen.
This is the third Lord of the Flies comparison I've heard today. It feels like the simplest one to compare it to. So I'll go ahead and give sort of like a basic summary of this.
Okay.
You're good. I'll give like a basic summary. So basically we're introduced to this group of children, and they do this in like, I want to say a Scott Pilgrim way. It's not a Scott Pilgrim way, but when they like show images of characters doing things and it shows their name. It does that sort of vibe at the beginning. So we're introduced to these characters, not in like an over-explanatory way, but just them just being themselves. And they're all children in this, what seems to be abandoned city. And we learn from the beginning that they are vampires. And we are just following them along as they go. We have the oldest, Romy, who's kind of our main-ish character. They're quiet, as they don't talk at all. You have Yui, who loves to read. You've got, I have a thing next to me of somebody else reviewing this. So I remember that their names, because there are a lot of characters.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're already doing better at remembering names than me.
Lucas, who's always playing the guitar. You got the twins, Ronnie and Raymond, who have their styles have obviously never changed from the moment that they were picked up.
This is what I need, the page that says everybody's name.
If I had it physically in front of me, we've got Bats, we've got the really headstrong Vicky, we got Billy, who's just really mad all the time. I think
Billy
that's everybody.
Is really mad all the time.
And we just spend time with them. We're already getting the sense like they're still kids at heart, but they've been here a while. And we learn that they have left them there. And as we're starting to go on, we learn more about, they show us the kind of background of when each person was recruited, but they don't show us too much information, which I really appreciate.
Right. And it's very clearly like a post-apocalyptic destroyed city, but it almost has like a, have you read the his Dark Materials books? Like the Golden Compass?
Yes, but not since I was like 12.
Okay. Well, there's this like abandoned city in the second one where all these kids are kind of like on their own, and it reminds me very much of like how I envisioned that city. It kind of feels
Yeah.
like Dustin Nguyen like went into my brain and just kind of like grabbed the city and put it on paper.
Yeah, because it's different than like, you and I both love the woods.
Mhm.
And it's very different than like you're watching a group of kids suddenly get thrown into this.
Right.
And no, it's just something that we often see, like Lord of the Flies. We see these kids like, oh, all the adults are gone. Now you are in charge of something. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
there's
do? And these
no
kids have just been here.
yeah, there's no like, okay, well, what's going to happen? How do we get food? How do we do this? How do we do that? Like, there's none of that. It's already laid out, and they've clearly been living here for, I don't think
Yeah.
we find out how long
They
it's been.
said like at least 100 years is how long they've been in the city.
Yeah,
But
it's been a while.
I think they figure out towards the end because it's hard for them to tell time. And like the way they talk about their memories, they sort of just forget stuff. Like Lucas is like, oh yeah, I obviously learned the guitar at some point. I couldn't tell you when. And like anytime I've learned these songs or written these songs, I don't remember them. But like all these people like describe these things like I don't know when I learned to do this. And later on, like they asked like a girl, like, what year is it? And she says like I think it's 2,300 and something. And she goes, oh, 300 years. So I think they've been here for a pretty long time. She said, oh, 300 years. Like they've been in the middle of this.
Yeah, I'm flipping through right now, like looking to see if I could find the time, but
Because I think the most recent one they recruit is Billy.
I think so. Yeah.
Because he's dealing with, they refer to it as like the second pandemic. So I'm assuming that this is like referencing COVID, but this is
Well,
like a second worse one.
I think this came out before COVID, didn't it? Or am I wrong?
That's a good question.
I want to say it's like 2019.
Then that's hilarious. Because,
well, this is May 2024, but this is the printing.
let me check.
Um,
Originally published in 2022.
Oh, okay. So it is. It feels a lot longer ago because I read this in singles.
Oh, okay.
It did not. I will say it did not work in singles as well as it works as a like read it at one time book.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine but I couldn't imagine reading any Lemire book just by singles either.
Yeah, and yet I still do it. Maze book, Minor Arcana. But this one, I remember I didn't actually pick up this hardcover of it for a long time because when I read it in singles, it felt like it wasn't cohesive and it was kind of like all over the place. It's the same feeling I had about that's Nice House on the Lake.
Yeah, but also last podcast on the left.
Also last podcast on the left.
Anyway, you go.
No, yeah, last or Nice House on the Lake, I tried to read in singles and I couldn't do it. I read it in 2 trades and I couldn't do it. It felt like this 2 separate stories that didn't work together.
Oh, well, that one absolutely did. Yeah.
But when I sat down and read it in the deluxe version as one sitting,
yeah,
like I read it in a day, and it works so much better as one continuous.
I should give it another chance.
That second half,
with the way
the second half does not play well.
It was so cool.
The first time.
First volume, I was like, oh man. But
I don't know. Hey, the sequel's out now. He clearly was, now that you go into it knowing that it's not supposed to really have an ending, like it's setting up a whole situation because you're about to have like the new one's out. I actually just got my #1 signed by James Tynion today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the Nice House on the Lake show.
Well, I'll probably end up reviewing it again, I'm sure. It's one of those books, like, some of these series, you pick up one volume and like, oh, let's review the next one, which means you're reviewing the first one again. And
yeah, you definitely have to.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll, if you ever end up reviewing it again, let me know because I know a lot of people did not care for it, but I will take a hard stance that he tells a beautiful, amazing story.
I loved it. But anyways, let's back to Little Monsters. So Little Monsters. There's a few things I want to talk about in here, but I think we'll kind of jump around. I want to talk about the origins of all these characters because I think it's really neat. Because the first time they do a good job of like how everybody's recruited kind of in order a little bit. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so the year is either 2,325 or 2,328.
Awesome.
So Romy's picked up first. I forgot the year, but a very, very long time ago.
Oh, that Romy was actually,
Romy.
yeah, it's a long time ago.
And they were alone. And so basically, we see this giant, skinny being, only referred to like as them. They just refer to like the old ones or them. Obviously, like an old vampire.
Yeah.
And they recruit Romy, say, you'll never be alone again. You'll never have to be alone again. And Romy ends up being one of these kind of like mysterious, kind of all-knowing and powerful characters without giving too much, which I appreciate. And then, there's a few other like interesting ones. I think the most interesting ones to me are Rui. Is that the right name, or should I just make it up? Is it
I think it's Yui.
Yui.
Also, just real quick to answer your question, 1763 is when Romy is turned.
Thank you. Yeah, Yui was really interesting because she is picked up right after the bomb drops in Hiroshima. So this creature is picking up these children at very, like, for the most part, not for all of them, but very scary points in their lives when they're alone. And it's really interesting because, like, the first time you can see that these them, the old ones, have an affinity to children. They have a plan, and they don't want to hurt children. So when he runs into Romy, and he kills their father, then sees him like, oh, I didn't know you were here. I would have never done it.
My basically.
Bad. Ugh. And like, hey, you'll never be alone. You can be with me. And Romy's like, I barely talk. Sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say, does Romy even talk?
Romy
even back
then, and they even kind of talked a little bit later, I think, because we see, I don't know, 2 or 3 children in, they cut their hair and they say they just like it better that way.
Yeah.
So okay, they do talk. They just stop. I think they've seen too much, probably.
They're basically,
and there's that moment where their neck is kind of cut too. So I wonder if it has something to do with that.
Oh yeah, they are essentially the greatest character in comics history, and I would die for them.
They're just lovely.
There's a moment, I want to say it's like the end of the first issue, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling things, but where they get shot with an arrow. And I remember thinking, dear God, I can't, I will not go on if this is the end. Which fortunately they made very clear, like 2 panels into the next issue, that
they very casually pull it out.
It's an arrow. I'm a vampire. Like, it's not going to kill me.
Jeff and Dustin do a really good job together, having Romy say so much by saying so little. It's this kind of like quiet knowing. And not in like a submissive way at all to the rest of the children, but in a way that you know that Romy knows so much more and has like a wisdom that they've earned through like years and years, and also just a kindness.
I mean, just look at this.
Don't be scared, little baby.
Romy's the greatest character, just like in the history of comics.
Make this. Just make Jeff Lemire, make videos or shows or movies for all of Jeff Lemire's books, please.
Really, especially like things like this and like May's book that are confined small stories. I feel like you could really, this could be like a great like mini series even.
Oh yeah. And then we have, so Yui picked up in Hiroshima. Billy picked up during what I assume to be like a second COVID. So like trying to help his mom, trying to bring food to his mom, but then she's passed away from the virus. And then he's trying to get away, but he's being attacked basically. So they help him. So they save him from that. Lucas is saved during the Holocaust. And then the twins, Ronnie and Raymond, are, I guess, what they're dealing with, because it seems like sillier, right? But they're riding the trains because their parents can't take care of them, so they're trying to fend for themselves. And they're the goofiest little twins. And the old one steps in before they're taken in, because this old man's like, well, do you want to make some money? And you and I know what that probably means. And the guy steps in, he's like, no. You can come with us. We'll kill that guy. It's fine. Like, or let him go or whatever. Vicky, who's like working as a servant.
I can't stand Vicky
I
throughout the
know.
entire thing.
Vicky sucks. But it's necessary. And then Bats being attacked by, I assume, skinheads
Yeah, it seems that way.
in England. And so we had this like interesting grouping. And not just that, but like it's a long time between each one until we get closer to our time, and it's closer. And they talk about how history used to move really slow with these big, huge events. And they used to be a surprise, but now they just seem inevitable and they're happening quicker and quicker. And I thought it was a really interesting like commentary to go throughout. But I thought that part on its own was a very neat like story.
Yeah. Then you've also got the people though, which I honestly reading it in singles, I think I quit before I got to the people.
Yeah.
Like more than just the one person they introduced in like the second issue, but because I was not when I reread it and then reread it again, I always forget that Finnick and like the people exist.
Yeah.
But they're kind of important.
Yeah, because they eventually run it. Like it's important to like how our kids move. One of the kids, Billy, finds this old man. Well, technically Romy finds him and like leaves to probably go get help. Because they have rules there. So we haven't mentioned they also have very strict rules. They have to sleep in exactly where they like in their rooms are. They are not to leave this city because they will come back.
Mm-hmm.
They're never to eat people. But right. Billy sucks. And Billy saw this man fall and get pinned. And Billy's like, bet.
Well, they're kind of, am I wrong? They're kind of under the assumption that people don't exist anymore. Like that they're all that's left.
And so then, like, their brains are kind of weird.
Yeah.
They don't remember anything.
So it feels like basically the old ones basically just told them, okay, humanity has been wiped out. You can only eat animals. And what you can hunt for, you can't leave the city. You must sleep in your designated space every single night, which keeps them from traveling anywhere, really. Yeah. Which is something we see at one point of them trying to like get to a specific area, but they're like, no, we have to go back to our spot.
Yeah, because they've been living in this place with those rules for over 100 years without even knowing.
Yeah, well, I just flipped to it. The second pandemic, when Billy gets turned, it's 2029, and it's right in the middle of the second pandemic. So if it's 23, 28, let's say, that's 299 years.
Yeah.
So they've been around for a little bit.
Yeah, he deliberately took him to this town knowing it would be deserted. So and they talk about it as if like this place that we're destined to be, this place was like made for them because they're jumping up high. And they're coming with their art too, which I also thought was really interesting. They're tagging everything, but almost as a way to like how cavemen did their art back in the day. It's like a testament though, like of what they're seeing and how to communicate with each other and making a mark and keeping track of like what their lives have been.
Yeah, it feels like Romy is like documenting a lot of it.
Okay, that's a good point. It does seem if you lived for that long, your brain couldn't keep all your memories. Oh, absolutely. And plus, you have a kid's brain. If you're turned as a kid, your frontal lobe hasn't developed. It's not going to.
Right.
So how can your brain, the synapses work to collect all that information? Unless, of course, I'm speaking as if like an exact science. If you were turned, it's all fantasy. But I'm like, actually.
Yeah, no, science. Vampire science.
I know vampire science. I wasn't allowed to read Anne Rice growing up because my mom said it was inappropriate.
I mean, I wasn't allowed to read like Harry Potter growing up because it was inappropriate. So
I say that I'm offended now, but like now in hindsight, good. But like that's sad.
I mean, I read it like anyway. So
suck it, Mom. Yeah, I really enjoy all of this back and forth. And so yeah, we meet the people. So Billy eats a guy, and he's like, man, I'm gonna tell everybody else about this. And he's like, hey, fellow kids, I found a guy. Drinking blood is awesome. It's like the best I've ever felt. Y'all should really do this. And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's go. And they just like, they forget that they're looking for Romy, who's missing right now. They don't care. And they just drain this man. You can tell it's already having weird. Sorry, I know there's no other way to talk about it, Steven.
It's so sad.
You can tell it's having a weird effect on them. And we don't know to what degree. It's kind of hinted at that they will become monsters because of this, because like they feel stronger, they have less impulse control. They talk about how like it's referenced in some flashbacks of talking to the older people that maybe eating humans is like an irreversible thing that ages them, that turns them into this monster-looking things, but they don't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on a base level, it feels like when you read it, it's a story about addiction. Because it really is like, or at least that's what I get when I read it, of just like how addiction can just destroy a person's world, a person's family. And it's not necessarily something that a person has control over. I think he does a good job of showing that like these kids aren't, you see him at the beginning. It's not like Billy's a bad kid or whatever, but he kind of becomes the main antagonist.
Yeah.
But it's not that Billy and Vicky's just the worst, but it's not that Billy's like a bad kid. It's just like, I don't know. He does a good job of showing like, yeah, anybody can fall victim to something like this happening, and they very much is an addiction throughout this.
Or even like violent coping skills, because you know if you think about it, when the old one leaves, so this is more story, but when the old one leaves, he knows he's dying. He's not coming back actually. And he tells Romy, "I don't want them to see me die. I need them to still have hope, because you were a great experiment. You are the ones that's supposed to take on forever. If you don't eat humans, you won't age like us, because actually vampires do age, just very slowly." And it's as if like that's how you're dealing with the trauma of the world. If you can hold on to some of that like innocence and hope and childlike part of yourself, that's you're going to be able to make it through this. But if you turn to more violent habits to cope, right, that's gone for you.
And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's why Romy's who they are, though, on some level too, is that they are aware of a lot of things that the other kids aren't. So they are, in a way, more old than all of them.
Yeah.
Not just age wise, obviously, but they're more world weary, but also still a kid. Like
Yeah.
it's because I actually just flipped to it right here. This is what I was thinking about, where he tells Romy, it's not easy to carry the burden of age. Yet you are the oldest, Ramika, and soon it will be you who must take care of them. And sometimes taking care of the people you love means lying to them. And that's
that feels a little too real as someone who is the youngest, but more so the eldest who had like raise not my kids.
Oh,
it's like
that's
that,
the thing.
it's like when you're the responsible, the parentified child, and that's what Romy is.
Oh, well, yeah, and I mean, reading it, I don't know for sure, but to me, when I read it, Romy definitely is like, I would say, the next youngest when they are turned to maybe the twins. I kind of viewed the twins as the youngest. But then I kind of saw like Billy and Bats and all them as older kids, so.
Yeah, Lucas looked old.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this teenager? But I mean, maybe he's not.
Lucas had a real just like sunshine from Remember the Titans vibe, just hanging out playing guitar.
That's a great comparison.
Right?
Did they make you watch Remember the Titans in school? I feel like every school has like a movie that they just make you watch when they're busy. And for our school, it was Remember the Titans. So I've seen it so many times. Billy did seem to be the most vulnerable to going down the path he went. I think so. But I think that's, he is one that I think is a very, not, it's something you see often with children of trauma. The ones that tend to reach out, they tend to be more like, have more symptoms like oppositional defiance disorder. The ones that are like, no, why would I do this? You're dumb. I'm going to do whatever I want. Like that's how he reacts to his trauma, is by doing these things. And that's why it leads him to have that immediately, because he's already questioning the whole time, like, why aren't they here? Like he's the one pushing his boundaries. So you have that kind, you have the ones that just accept it, like Lucas. You have your parentified child that's just doing their best to keep the order. And you have still like your twins, they have each other. And they've always had each other. So they feel comfortable in that loop of just playing and hanging out and doing whatever.
Yeah. And then you have the person who's the strangest character to me, as far as like personality wise, I guess, which is Yui.
Yeah.
I feel like she's just kind of, more so than any other character, removed from, other than Romy. Romy removes themselves.
Yeah.
But it feels like Yui, if it's not Lucas, the kids aren't really talking to Yui. Even before.
Yeah.
It's kind of rough. And Yui, their special place, or her special place, is the library. And it's like, she's written very much, I feel like, as a like solo, like on her own character, compared to like everybody else felt like a gang.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. She felt kind of like the outsider when I'm reading it. And I may just be reading into that, but
I don't think so. And I wonder
also,
if that, I feel a lot of like the reading a lot, right? The like
no,
her
same.
crush on Lucas, I guess.
Well, don't we all
and
have
that
a
could be
crush on
cultural,
Lucas?
because I mean she's the only one that's not from like an English speaking. I mean, well, I guess Romy maybe is from Russia or something, but like
Well, and Lucas is
Yui's from Japan, so like that's
Lucas
a whole
is German.
different, like, not Western. They probably weren't even thinking about that, but like,
Yeah, because I'm thinking, yeah, because Yui's from Japan, Lucas is from Germany. Romy, I kind of got the vibe they were from some
Central
sort of
Europe.
Eastern European, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Our
Arch
but then the
boys,
rest of
those
them,
are
yeah.
American.
Oh yeah, and Billy.
Yeah,
And then the Bats
is England.
and Vicky, I think, are English.
Yeah.
Or is Vicky maybe South Africa? I can't remember.
Oh, it could be. I mean, she has like if she's not from England, she's from a colonialized place. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, she is. But, and I can say now, by the way, update for you, Maddie. Nobody out there is going to understand what I mean, but the lamb was found, so all is well. My
good.
child, long story short, my child lost the stuffed animal they've had literally since the day they were born. They are 5. It was a crisis of infinite proportions. It was very scary. And so I'm just glad that all is well, and I no longer feel as though the world's going to end. So
Good.
speaking of the world ending, little monsters.
It would have been wild if you said the lamb is found and didn't explain it, and then actually this was some really elaborate ARG.
The lamb is found sounds like some sort of like religious code. I don't know.
I wish I was like, I love solving those things. I don't think I'm smart enough to come up with one.
No.
You know what I mean?
I've got nothing.
But if you give me a puzzle like that, I'm all in.
Oh yeah.
My favorite.
No, for sure.
Yay. Hooray, crisis averted.
Yes.
I was like, you're gonna have to post lost, like, missing posters for this lamb.
I was concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, man. I was also selfishly like, wow, they are really looking everywhere all around me while I'm trying to talk to Maddie on the internet.
It was very sweet of you.
No, it's okay. Like, this happened 5 minutes before I was going to get on the call. I was like, oh no.
Speaking of lost lambs, we have to talk about our human girl they picked up.
Oh yeah, I've already forgotten her name. Yeah,
So the man that they drained ends up being a father, and his daughter had followed him out there. There's not how am I supposed to say it.
you're
Someone's gonna
not.
clip this. Because on Twitch. Oh my god.
Yeah, somebody's gonna just clip you over and
It's gonna be
over
Jay.
saying
I'm
the
gonna find us
man
on
they
Discord
drained.
later. But only a month from now if I'm drunk and then on Discord for some reason. This one time I'm on there.
Trying to find this person's name.
So the daughter shows up, and luckily, Romy is there to talk to them. And they shoot Romy in the chest immediately with the bow and arrow. But Romy is taking care of her, and so are Lucas and Yui. And they end up forming their own kind of crew at that point because they're the ones left out of the blood drinking, so they are not there. So they are trying to do their best to talk to the girl and be like, "Hey, sorry about your dad. We're gonna get you out of this." And then we learn that she is the narrator of this book. So more is going to happen with this girl as we continue. At the same time, Laura, like a normal name. So Laura, they're helping her. And at the same time, the rest of our crew, Billy's like, God, you're not going to believe this. There's more people. There's like a whole camp. Let's go. And they're like, hey, we're supposed to stay here and sleep here. And we're not supposed to leave the town ever. He's like, parents are losers.
They also told us drinking blood wasn't delicious, and
it
it's
is
so good.
So like every, preteen, teenager that's like rebelling, they're like, my parents lied to me. Let's go.
This is Billy's whole vibe.
Yeah.
This is
Always.
amazing while sucking on a person's neck. That's Billy.
And Vicky is just a crazy wild child. So she's like, I've never jumped so far. I've never ran so fast. Let's go. And then one of the twins already is like, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
It's making me feel sick, which is interesting because it did make everybody else feel sick. And I think that's because maybe he was too childlike. So he was like, this doesn't really work with me. Like his being almost.
Yeah, I want to say that's Raymond because then we're spoilers, right?
Yeah, we're spoilers here.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say it's Raymond because then things don't go so great for Ronnie. Ronnie gets his little head chopped off.
Yeah, because they jump in, no questions.
Oh yeah.
Vicky first, and she looks terrifying. That's one good thing about Vicky. She's like looks crazed. She's a cute little girl, and she shows up and they're like, "How are you doing?" And she's like,
right. Well, yeah, they
I'd
do
be very not scary vampire if I was doing that.
Yeah, no, they do a very good job of like when they're standing there talking to each other, they're these cute little kids. Because I think I literally was just flipping through and turned to the juxtaposition of like she's just standing there, this like cute little kid.
I do like her style. Like she looks really cool.
Yeah, she's just chilling when they meet her, and she just kind of like cocks her head to the side and does her thing, and next thing you know, I don't see it anywhere, but next thing you know, she'd be eating people.
Yeah, and they cut off Ronnie's head. They've eaten. I mean, they've drank the blood of most everybody, except for like one guy.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
like, hey, we have to get back. The sun's coming up. We can't be here, or whatever. We have to get back to town and sleep in our own beds. Even though Billy's like, we can sleep anywhere, it doesn't matter. But they're still like, we have rules, Billy. This was fun, but what if Dad comes home? But Raymond gets captured. I assume Raymond, it's a twin, whatever. He gets captured by this old guy who's still there, who puts like a football helmet on him to keep him from biting.
It's like
you're gonna show me.
Is that a football? It's like got the full cage on it. Is that like
full cages?
Or like a lacrosse helmet, maybe?
I don't know.
It's just like
I don't sport.
Yeah.
Unless it's in like an anime.
I do sport, and I still am like I
don't know.
Maybe it's like a street hockey. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway.
I didn't see that in Mighty Ducks, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, you know what, internet, if you know.
Oh, that's gotta be hockey. That's a hockey. Oh no, it's always hockey because it's Jeff Lemire.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's hockey. Yeah. It's like
I
the
knew
gold
that.
helmet.
I was just making sure you knew that.
I do sport. That's the one sport.
That's the sport.
And so we go back. Billy and his crew are like, man, I'm still hungry. It's such a bummer. And he smells the girl bear. So this whole back and forth of just like them trying to get away from Billy in the crowd. And eventually coming upon the body of the guy, the old man.
Yeah, I can't remember what they call him, but
just them.
Is that what I couldn't remember if they called him specifically like something.
No.
But yeah, because they end up in Bromy's like safe place, which none of them have ever been to, which is underground. And
Romy's got to like open up then about everything, which, Romy doesn't speak. So we know through flashbacks that this was all a great experiment. The old ones knew they were going to die regardless. And they needed someone to carry on the species, but also be witness to like all of these horrible things happening on Earth. Thanks, that's super nice of you. But they need somebody to be that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was explained to Romy. And so Romy writes like the infinity symbol to try to explain, but they can't do more than that at that moment. And everyone's so mad. It's like, wait, we thought this person was coming back, but you've known this whole time. Yeah. And so there is that kind of like back and forth and like uncomfortableness, not knowing what to do, while still dealing with Billy being a big old jerk.
Yeah, Billy and Vicky are not doing great. I think you can tell Bats is like torn, where he's just like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, but at the same time, it feels real good. Because I kept thinking at some point, like Bats was gonna step in and just be like, okay, it's enough.
Yeah.
I think he's a wuss and he doesn't ever do that, but yeah. Meanwhile, as I'm looking through, I'm like, meanwhile, Raymond's just attached to a leash, being walked across the world in the dark.
Poor thing. He's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. And he has like one bit of sunshine put on him. He's like, no, I'll tell you. I was like, leave this poor boy alone with his little bowl cut.
He got that one little bit of sunshine, and I was like, oh no, that sucks. And then when he gets put in that room with him, the guy has a UV lamp, and he like lifts the shutter up on it, and like that. Even like looking at it, I was like, oh. Even though honestly, I didn't really like the twins, but I was still like,
they're still sad little babies, though.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to see Ronnie get his head cut off.
Oh no!
No one needs that.
Yeah, so basically, we end up in this kind of back and forth, unsurprisingly, where the human girl's like ends up helping them. Like, no, these are my friends, and her uncle, quote unquote, is like, no, now you're one of them, and blah blah blah. It's just like, stop. But ends up being this big old fight, regardless between all of them. And ends up kind of being at the end of Romy protecting her. And Billy's on the way. They don't have anywhere to go. There's only one way to get out of this. And so Romy shows them like the infinity sign.
Mm-hmm.
Or her, the infinity sign, and turns her. So she is now joined with the kids, and we see her live on. She ends up being that kind of the face and also the voice for all of this. So she's the person we see at the end find a kid by themselves and like, hey, you don't have to be alone anymore. So she carries this on, which I think is cool.
Right. Well, I mean, they're the one, unless I'm mistaken. I mean, she's the narrator, correct?
She is, yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember because I didn't finish a reread of it in the last couple of days, but
yeah, it feels like she's kind of like she's a great companion for Romy in a way that she can kind of be Romy's voice,
right,
and like true partner in this,
which is so good. And I love it, and I love Romy, and Romy's the greatest character ever.
And, Romy's great.
Again, I would die for them.
And it's one of those things, like, we've spoiled some things, but I don't think anyone's going to ruin it. I think there's so much interesting storytelling in this. There's so much nuance that I cannot properly communicate to you. Yeah. It's communicated so much by the art, Lemire's writing, and just the, like, even just Romy as a character, you really have to see how their face moves, how they move throughout the world to really kind of get where they're at and how everybody interacts with one another. The art does such an incredible job conveying this.
I was gonna say, as I look through it, I'm like, maybe I do like Dustin Nguyen's art. Because I always liked it in this, but maybe I should give Ascender and Descender a second chance. I don't know. I am willing to admit when I'm wrong.
Well,
so
remind me
maybe-
eventually when I read it, because I still have it somehow. I'm always amazed when I haven't read every Lemire, because I feel like I'm just constantly reading Lemire all the time.
But you know what? There's still ones
He's
I
just
haven't.
throwing out books all the time.
Was it he that wrote? Was it he? Was it he that wrote?
Was it he?
Did he write Plutona?
Maybe.
I haven't read that.
Oh, and I haven't read his superhero book, the big one.
Oh, Black Hammer?
Yeah. I
No,
know.
you've read Black Hammer.
Well, I think maybe I read like the first.
I think you read the first
library
one
edition.
for Old Reader, New Reader.
Yeah, but that's it though.
5 years ago, and
But that's it. I never read the whole thing, so it doesn't really count. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
never
it's
finished
great.
it.
It's incredible.
Same with Harrow County. I never finished Harrow County, so I need to like.
Harrow County's very good too.
Oh, I almost bought the board game at Gen Con.
Harrow
But I
County's
had to-
not. No, Harrow County's not Lemire. At that moment, where I was like Harrow County, but that's Cullen
Descender's
Bond.
fantastic. I've heard wonderful, wonderful things about Descender and Descender.
Yeah,
And
I
now that
need
I'm
to
in the
give it
reading
another
mood.
shot. When it comes to sci-fi, I'm either like super in or super out, and I
Yeah.
feel like that came out at the same time or around the same time as G. Willow Wilson's Invisible Kingdom,
Oh, that was so
which is
good.
like a masterpiece to me.
So good.
And so I think I just kind of was so invested in that and in Skyward
Oh,
that
oh
I
gosh.
let Ascender and Descender kind of like slip by. And I
Sometimes
tried
it's not
reading
the
it
right
in trade.
time.
So that's
Sure.
probably my other mistake. I will say Little Monsters has one of my favorite variant covers ever, and I'm so glad they have the gallery in the back.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I found it at a store, and I think it's the only copy of Little Monsters singles that I still have. I don't know. I just like.
That's really cute. That's little. That's
I
so
love
good
it so
color.
much, and like
Oh,
they
have
had
great
some really
covers.
great like. I really always liked like this like
Oh, very anime.
style like
Very,
it's just,
very
like,
Death Note.
yeah, exactly. They did a lot of really, and of course Lemire just killing the covers.
I need to at least own one Lemire print in my life. That isn't to be an original of anything, just like a print would be
I
nice.
want a Lemire original. I don't think I can settle for a print. I only have one piece of original art though.
Yeah, I don't have any. Well, yeah, I don't have any.
I can't remember the guy's name. I just love the page. It's from Green Arrow. Is it? Oh no. Juan Ferreira? Juan Ferreira. From the Ben Percy run. I'm such a nerd.
Oh, I don't know if you I just read Birds of Prey, the newest one.
I read the first couple issues when they first came out, but
It's pretty cute. I think you'd like the rest. The art's really good, except for one issue where it's kind of weird. But
so
the girls be girling, and they
oh yeah, I want to read that, and I know they just I think they're on issue 3 of the new Gotham City Sirens.
yeah, I want to read that.
And I want to read that because they're including Punchline in there, and I really do think that Punchline is like blew up for 5 seconds and then has become a completely underutilized character.
Like so many DC characters.
Yeah, because when she blew up
ER4.
at first, it felt like everybody was like, at DC must have been like, oh, we don't know how to use her because we thought she
already
was just Harley
have.
Quinn. And it's like, no, she's better than Harley Quinn.
Whoa,
some
Bars will
ways.
show up, she'll fight you.
No, I love Harley. But
If the original be worth in the long run. I think I would save up for certain people. I really want Zoe Thorogood. Anything. Any original art from Zoe would be really cool.
I still haven't read I haven't been in a space to read it.
It's only the center of the earth.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I have it, but I'm like, I've been in a bad mental
God, it's
space.
so
I don't think
good.
I should read it. Which
And
also
Zoe just tweeted like yesterday. she was like, I know I said I'm not going to do any auto-bio work, but this has been the most traumatic day, so I'm probably going to write some more. And I was like, Zoe, no, but also, oh, Zoe.
But also do it. No. I
don't want you to have any trauma, please, but
I don't know. You need to do a complete episode of this, or a Fangirls, where it's just spooky. Because speaking of mental health and spooky, have you read A Haunted Girl yet?
No.
Oh, it's Ethan Sachs wrote it with his teenage daughter. And depression is literally like the demon in it that is possessing the young girl.
Okay.
And like it's kind of like if you did you read Infidel?
Maybe.
Where like that apartment building is haunted, but really it's like xenophobia and racism
are
the demons.
Infidel was so good.
It's like that, but for mental health.
Okay.
And it's
because I have to
really,
plan
really good.
Like 8 books, basically, because I've got to plan Fangirls, and I've got to plan Old Reader, New Reader. And I know that one of the Old Reader, New Readers is that, oh man, what's the one? It's a teddy bear on the cover, and it's like bloody. It looks kind of like, it's like Richard Scarry meets Dexter, I've heard.
Oh, I don't know.
Why is it Jessica here?
Is it
meets Dexter? If I write Richard Scarry meets Dexter, does it? Beneath the trees where nobody sees.
Oh, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. I was thinking like an older story. Yeah, that
one is on the list for next month.
That's cool.
I know that, and feel free if you want to jump on anything, let me know. But I know I want to do this one. There's a new Hellboy, the one they're making the movie of. That's going to be on. One Junji Ito, of course, because it's not. But besides that, I'm not sure.
As long as it's not no longer human.
And then of course, I do want to do Harrow County, so I think I'll just maybe do that at the end.
Do you have anybody for Harrow County?
Come on in.
I love Harrow County.
It's October, so it's just like it's open invitation on my friends. Just like
I live in the South. I know all about Haints.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's perfect.
Features.
Well, Melly can join too. I'll message.
Yeah, no, include me because I love horror. As I've said, between my and A Haunted Girl. And you know what? Not even prose. Read Harrow County. It's brilliant, but hey, that's not it. This is a book that I think flew under the radar, and I'm very sad about it. And so deal with it. The plot is like very good. It's like this guy's brother and sister-in-law are like murdered, and he kind of like forms a family with their kids. They're his like niece and nephew at their family home, but like there's a lot going on in that family home, both like family secrets and like it's one of those where it's like art, where it's like family secrets are corrupting the land, but the land is also haunted. Like
I've been reading a lot of those, so I'm in.
It's like it's not just the family stuff. There's also supernatural elements, but no, it's great, and I can never say the name of the guy that does the art, but the art is amazing. I can't remember this dude's name. Moresi. Oh, I mean, it looks really cool. No, that's the publisher. What's the name? Drawn by Joshua Hickson. Oh, Joshua Hickson does the art. Never mind, I take it back. Michael Moresi is the writer, along with Tim Daniel. But
I've got it open. I love it because right into this, because it's Vol, it's like staff recommendations. It's like, here's these savage swords. You want to read it again? I'm like, I can't. I've already reviewed it before. Please stop. You know I'll do it again.
Yeah, no, I've got. You talk horror Rex.
Some prose. What are you reading?
Prose. What have I read lately? Let me pull up here.
So I read Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. Loved it. Okay. Loved it. I listened to the audiobook and I really liked it because she does a lot of books of like, here's like the present.
I do audiobooks mostly, novel-wise.
And she changes the person. I really like that. Then I just finished the Book of Cold Cases. Not as good.
No.
No, kind of disappointed by that. I read the one with the VHS on the cover. What is that called?
Oh, is that the bodies? Home is where the bodies are.
Yeah, the design of it, great. The story, I guessed it, and I think I maybe like it less.
Yeah,
I want it for her. I think there's probably a lot of promise and more. Whatever books come after this,
that's fair.
I wanted more from it. It was so hyped online all the time. I was kind of bummed.
I'm looking. Oh man, I read a lot. Things I've read. I read Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. It's like a novella, so it's like if you do the audiobook, it's like 3 hours.
Oh, love that.
It's just like a quick like day read. I actually started it this morning and finished it at lunch. But Night of the Mannequins. I just got done with The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher.
Oh yeah.
And I liked that a lot.
I was confused because The Twisted Ones is also a Five Nights at Freddy's book.
Not that one. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily like it wasn't what I was thinking I was reading, if that makes sense. But it was still good. What else have I got?
I just want to be spooked.
Been reading a lot of Riley Sager, so I read Survive the Night.
Oh yeah, how do you like them? I don't know. The pronouns Riley could go either way.
I think he's he, him. But I like most of it. So everybody loves Final Girls. I read it. It was fine.
Yeah.
I think everybody built it up.
Oh, okay.
But the only one
not
left,
as good as Final Girl Support Group, because that book I love.
Well, that's a brilliant book.
Brilliant.
If I could like probably pick one book of his to recommend to people, it's the only one left. Okay. Which is literally like
I have so many tabs open because anytime someone recommends something in the chat or you do, I'm like,
you should read it. It's literally just like
a cover.
House on a hill, and there's a rhyme about the house that's basically like Lizzie Borden, like about this girl at 17 that killed her family and hung her sister and did all this like horrid stuff, and this woman becomes the caretaker of her when she's a nonverbal like 80-year-old woman in a wheelchair, and she starts to like tell her story to her through typing, and it sounds like, oh, it's a sweet old lady story. No, it's kind of crazy.
Let's go.
And it gave me like real big like modern day Edgar Allan Poe like spooky vibes.
All right, next.
Anything else? Incidents Around the House was really good. Okay. That's a brand new one.
I'm getting all my reading in. Well, now that I'm back, because the reason why I've been gone, work has been so insane. Well, I got COVID. I went to Gen Con, so I was already busy. But I was like, it's fine. I'll jump back on. Then got COVID, and I was like, okay, not great. And then work was crazy, continuously. Like I was working nights, but now I'm free. I'm free to read and have fun until Dragon Age comes out at the end of October.
Like I'm
and
going
hopefully
through
Kristen will come back from maternity leave and save me on Sundays. Because having to schedule 2 shows for myself is hard.
Just me all the time.
Well, you're going to be on for Batgirl.
Yeah.
Batgirl, you're welcome.
Yeah, Incidents Around the House is read by if you do the audiobook, is read by a little girl. It's very creepy. Or I think it might be a voice actress doing a little.
I don't care. That's great.
But it's from the perspective of a small girl and demons, and it's good.
Yes.
Hide was okay. It's like a hide and seek championship thing.
I also need you to watch Trap whenever it is available in a cheap way for you to watch it. Yes, by M. Night Shyamalan. Now listen.
Okay.
It was hilarious.
Well, I don't want hilarious. I want spooky.
No, it's not spooky. It's so funny. Please watch it.
Okay.
Josh Hartnett was hilarious. It's so good.
Oh, well, now you said
for
the
the last
magic
part of the
words.
movie, he takes his shirt off for no reason. Love it. Incredible. But the acting, his acting, I think he was committed. It's good. M. Night Shyamalan's daughter's acting, not great.
Oh no.
Is a perfect drinking game kind of movie. So good.
I like how I'm like looking for last minute recs on my list. Oh, I mean, if we're talking a like top 3 horror that I've read this year, not counting Gideon Falls, because I finally like reread Gideon Falls and realized it's a masterpiece.
I need to
Jeff
go back because
Lemire.
I read it, but I don't remember anything.
I read
I was like,
both
have I read
volumes.
Gideon? And I was like, yes, I've read Gideon. You can
I
tell
read
it's
both
spooky
volumes
season.
over again in one sitting. Like I just sat and read all 22 issues. And
Listen, I will gladly read a Krampus book any day. Any day. And
no.
it's set in Appalachia, Scott. You know what? I talked to a lady by recommending an Appalachia book. Hell yeah.
I do love an Appalachia book.
I'm in.
Yes, no. Number 1 horror book I would recommend to people right now that I have read is my dear sweet partner got me listening to all these horror books. And I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones is stupid good.
Okay. I have not started reading Nice House by the Sea.
I haven't either. I have issue 1, but I'm kind of doing what I
want to wait for the trade.
For the whole thing.
Yeah, because I remember reading it at issue at a time before, and it's just not as satisfying, I think.
It's hard, and you got to remember, wait, whose symbol is this, and what is this?
I like to, because I'm such a big theorist. Like, that's what I really enjoy in books and movies and games. So I like to have all the information I can. Like, and I feel like if it was if issues had as much info in them as like manga chapters did, I would feel better. But I feel like comic book issues, I don't feel like they don't give me enough of what I need to like keep the theory hive mind thing working.
Yeah, it's
like shows give me enough. So like, Rings of Power, after every week I can like, okay, let me go on the internet and look at symbolism. You know what I mean? But
yeah, going back to singles has been interesting. But it has reminded me my like love of singles.
I just do it for my DC people. So anything Roy Harper's in.
I get everything but DC in singles because I have Ultra.
Yeah, I don't have Ultra.
But see, I'll
wait, Steven, can you use your Ultra?
Maybe, yeah, I guess, yeah. Go for it.
I just want to catch up.
Yeah, because the majority of like what I get is actually mostly Marvel because they have a lot of good like female-led books. Well, they've all just gotten canceled, but they were good.
What? Marvel?
I know the current Spider-Woman was good. It was only 10 issues though. Captain Marvel was good, but it was only 10 issues. Alyssa Wong is about to write who is it? I don't remember. Alyssa Wong's about to write some character that I was psyched about. But yes. Sorry. They're doing a lot with like exceptional X-Men right now.
I've heard everything with the X-Men stuff is really good right now.
Gail Simone's
I was just killing it.
Is off to
it's like selling out at places.
Mm-hmm. And it should be. It's fantastic. Like if I could pick like 3 books right now that I'm like everybody should be reading, it is probably Uncanny by Gail Simone, Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman, because I don't like Hickman, but
which is wild to me.
The first time.
Oh wait, no, I don't like Hickman either. Why did I say it was wild to me? I was like, hey, look, you don't like Hickman. I hate Hickman.
Yeah, honestly, I've never liked Hickman in Marvel, period.
Yeah, it's the over-explaining for me.
But that Spider-Man is
okay.
The first time since probably 2013 that I have
Yeah.
picked up a Spider-Man book and been like, this is Spider-Man.
Nice.
That's been a while. And then, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, rounding it out, Daredevil's really good, but it's always really good.
Yeah, I need to add Absolute Wonder Woman to my list. Next time at the comic shop.
I don't know what's going on with all this Absolute. Like,
I don't either. I'm a little confused.
like,
I haven't had time to watch a breakdown of everything. I know Roy Harper's joining the Justice League.
Roy Harper's in the Justice League now?
He's supposed to be joining. I think he accepted an invitation. I think Wade's writing Justice League right now.
Is he alive again?
Yeah, read all 13 issues of Green Arrow when he's reunited with his daughter.
Oh, I have read the first trade of that. Okay.
Yeah, so he's back in the groups. He's doing stuff. He's making the rounds. I think Donna might be dead. I have no idea. Because I can't be happy.
No,
DC can't let me have this. But I'll figure it out later. Anyways,
it's okay. As long as they don't kill Ollie, I'm okay.
No, I won't kill. Well, I say that. They might.
I don't know. I finally, for the first time in my life, been reading the Mike Grell, like, 80s run of Green Arrow, like the Longbow Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It's pretty great. It's pretty fantastic.
Well, Steven, thank you so much for being here. It's lovely.
Thanks for letting me be here. I enjoy being around, I enjoy talking to people about books and about the plot, both of books and the book.
Chat, thank you for being here, hanging out. I will be back on schedule now. I'm back officially. So I'll be back next week with Omar, or not Omar, I'll be back this next week. And then October, I'm not going to miss a Tuesday in October, ever. I'll probably post at the beginning of the month, like the layout of that month and what we're reading, so everybody can kind of follow along. If you're watching this later, or you message me later, some recommendations for comic book or horror comic books I haven't read yet, because there might be some that I should be checking out that I haven't. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a good night. Go watch Trap and laugh at it and tell me how much you love it. And yeah, and we will catch y'all next time. You can see Steven again next month because he can't get away from me.
I don't want to. I would never want to.
I do this too much. That's why when my chiropractor's like, your posture's bad. And it's like, is it because I do this?
I can't even. My arms aren't, I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't feel good in my shoulders. Anyways, have a good night, everybody. Sleep well. James, watch it again. See y'all next time. Bye.